Hi everyone, I am Richard Mitchell, the reviews content director here at Joystiq, and my favorite game of the last decade, and I'm actually pretty surprised I'm saying this, is Castle Crashers. Now, there have been a lot of big, important games over the last decade, really incredible games, but when I started thinking about really what mattered to me over the last 10 years, Castle Crashers popped up in my brain, and I think that's because of the people that I shared it with. I played Castle Crashers with my wife and her cousins and my niece and my brother and my other friends and family, and we had so much fun together that I think it just stands out as a really great memory, and for that reason I think it's definitely my favorite game of the last decade. And it's not just because of the amount of fun that I had with other people, but it's also, mechanically, it's a really good game. It's a really good beat 'em up. And one of the things I like about it is that, you know, there's a really high degree of versatility and customization. Like, my Blue Knight will be completely different from someone else's Blue Knight. Like, they might put all of their points into strength, whereas I would put all of my points into magic. And maybe they like to use a different weapon or different items. You know, which pet do they have following them around? And not only that, but it's not just the Blue Knight. There's like, I don't know, like dozens of characters in that game, and you can choose whoever you want. And so there's a lot of flexibility there that really makes it fun. And on top of that, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous 2D game that came out at a time when, you know, people were saying that, you know, this proves that 2D games can still exist in this new generation of consoles, which sounds really silly now. And maybe it was even silly back then, but I mean, there are 2D games everywhere. But this one is, I think the behemoth, the developer, is just exceptionally good at creating these beautiful visuals in 2 dimensions. I mean, you think of their other games like Alien Hominid, and they're very good at that. And it's almost as much fun to watch as it is to play. I mean, it looks like a cartoon. All the characters have these wonderful little details. I mean, there's not really any dialogue to speak of, but it's still full of personality, you know? Like I think of the crazy catfish boss, which is literally a giant half fish, half cat that's hawking hairballs at you, and there's just all kinds of charm, and it's hilarious. It's actually just, it's funny to watch, and it's fun to play. And I mean, I'm not going to argue that Castle Crashers is the best game of the decade or the most important game. There's a lot of other games in my top 10 that, you know, probably fit that description a little better. But if I'm thinking of my favorite game, you know, I got to spend so many great hours with the people that I love and care about with Castle Crashers. And I think the fun that you have with other people is better than the fun you have by yourself. And so if I'm really being honest with myself, Castle Crashers has to be my favorite game of the last 10 years.